Please welcome Mushaney and then Lila Moore.
Good evening. I'd like to start with congratulations. I know how hard it is to make it to this day. I'm here to speak to you today to let you know that going forward from here is not as difficult as it may seem. In late 2002, I was struggling with a question that may have at one time or another crossed your minds as well. Who am I? What defines me? I did have a couple of answers. One, I am a mother. I like that definition. Another is that I'm a wife. I like that one too. The problem was I could not define myself beyond that. Do not get me wrong. I enjoy being a wife and a mother. But I decided that just wasn't enough. The question was, what was I going to do about it? School was not my first answer. I was a horrible student when in high school. I went to 5 schools in the 2.5 years that I did attend. I dropped out. I should have graduated in 1991, and I found myself 10 years later before I obtained my GED. In 2002, I was 30 years old. I had 4 children, and a friend suggested to me to go back to school, and I just laughed it off. My youngest child was barely a year old, and the thought of going back to school was not only unlikely, but next to impossible. In my financial situation, I thought the cost of such a thing would be completely out of the question. Jim Sperata put it quite eloquently when he referred to my financial situation as an 800-pound gorilla that I had to carry around on my back. The gorilla is still there. He lost some weight. I had to put him on a bit of a diet. At the beginning of 2003, I saw a commercial for Kilian Community College. The discussion with my friend came back to mind, and I thought, well, getting information wouldn't hurt. So I called Kilian and I set an appointment with the admissions office. I didn't mention this to my husband. I just thought I was just getting information. By the time I left the building, I was preparing myself to change that definition I was so worried about. 2 years later, I was sitting in the position you are now. One thing, among many others, that the staff here at Kilian showed me was an awakening of the desire to learn. I have never experienced the passion for learning as I did here. It excited me. And then I also realized I wished to convey that excitement and see it in others. I decided I wanted to teach. I couldn't very well do that with an associate's degree. That meant I had to go to university. And I thought to myself, here I go again. Many of you are done, ready to begin whichever career you have chosen. However, there are some out there that are considering to further their education. I was there 5 years ago. I intended to go to USF to become a teacher. I had doubt about the plans that I had made. There were many fears going through my head. At the time, honestly, I was terrified. I could feel the weight of that gorilla pressing down on me once again. However, if I was ever going to let him off, there was only one thing I could do, and that is to better myself, finish what I had started. What terrified me was not only the cost of going to university meant, but the academic aspect was thoroughly daunting. Am I smart enough? Do I really have what it takes? I'm here to tell you the answer is yes. What I learned from the teachers here at Kilian is that I do have what it takes. I can go forward, and so can you. I won't sugarcoat it all for you. It is definitely not a walk in the park. It takes dedication and a big helping of tenacity, both of which you, I'm sure, already have. Otherwise, you would not be seated before me. There will be roadblocks hampering your ability to move forward. Life tends to have a way of tangling itself around your feet and tries its very best to trip you, and you will fall from time to time. But that is when we learn to pick ourselves up again and move forward. At those times, look to those who are here for you. I'm sure there are people in your life, possibly seated in this very audience, who have supported you in your venture to improve your own definition of yourself. Look to that support. When you feel overwhelmed, because you will feel that way, and you will need the support that these people represent. I did go to USF. One of the biggest roadblocks that presented itself was that I could not finish my degree with an education component. I found myself with a bachelor's degree in English that only qualified me to substitute teach. I did substitute teach for a year, and I decided I was not done with school, as I had first thought. Not only did I miss it, but I just wasn't finished. Yesterday, I graduated with my master's in education. These last 2 years have been the toughest of all, yet it is not nearly as bad as I had anticipated. The support I received was invaluable. My husband and 4 children gave up the very small time that we had together so that I could pursue my education, and for that I will be eternally grateful. What I learned most of all, and what I have taught my family, is that if you have the will and the desire, it is possible to redefine yourself. No matter how old you are, no matter where you are in life, and no matter what doubts that you may have about your abilities, it can be done. Each of you have improved upon the original definition of who you are. Now that you are here, look back and see just how easy it really was. I have grown as a person in too many ways to relate to you here today. But I can tell you that my definition of myself has grown. Are you satisfied with the current definition of yourself? Congratulations, class of 2010. Good luck to you, and go forward in each of your endeavors.